Welcome to the Deuce Cast. This is good grief. This is I am Michael. Welcome, Garrison and Dr. Earl. We are here, of course, to talk about episode 13 of the Bad Batch, titled "Infested." An episode that it took me a couple times to watch, but I finally got quite a bit out of the episode, and I think some future things could be happening. A little bit of plugs. I want to plug a couple of things that I'm going to be. Well, you know what? I'll do that at the end. There's a big.
Look, let's not start with plugs.
I know. It's a big Star Wars week for me. I got to talk Star Wars for like 3 hours this week. And so I want to plug.
Let it fly, man. I'm just kidding.
I'll do it later. I'll plug later. Now, what I do want to do.
Hugs for you, baby.
I know. I see your virtual hugs t-shirt. What I do want to do before we jump into the Bad Batch, let's talk about that Marvel Assembled episode of Loki a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I absolutely loved the way they did this one. It was a bit more, I think, produced than the other two.
It felt more like a real documentary. Yeah,
it felt more like, and the added bonus of having Hiddleston narrate it.
Yes.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
It's my favorite show. I've made that known personally.
Yes,
but it was my favorite documentary as well.
Yeah, and I had
a lot of fun with that.
It was like almost an hour. It was like 54 minutes or something.
It was an hour. Yeah,
it was very good. A couple of things that I noticed, which I know everybody noticed this, but in the concept art, they had Rocket or a Rocket variant in the line. So I thought that was interesting that at one point they were talking about having a Rocket variant hanging around.
You notice that whole room was packed with people.
Mm-hmm.
We know that the production for that show happened really around the time that COVID started.
Yeah.
It started clearly when they got to that scene, COVID had already been going on. And I guess they decided at that point to only make it kind of a two-person scene, two prisoners and two guards. and I think it works really well because it's almost kind of eerie how empty the room is. And you see the other guy get disintegrated, even though we know what happens to him. He still dies, most likely. But.
Yeah. I mean, I still think that, I think they made the right decision ultimately.
The
but
low
it would have
ceiling
been,
and the lights.
It would have been really fun. Gosh, Earl, your friend Rhett.
It is not my favorite
documentary. Wait, why am I getting the
your friend Rhett has issues.
My friend Rhett.
That's right. But yeah, so I thought the really cool stuff was discussed. I mean, I wish I could have gone like 2 hours with that thing. I mean, I loved just everything in that.
That's the thing is, I felt like with the other shows, it almost didn't feel like it was the documentaries were fleshed out, kind of like some of the towards the end of the seasons didn't in some aspects.
Nick is here.
What's up, Nick?
But this felt more fleshed out. But yeah, I also agree. I would have taken as much as they gave me. If they wanted to do an 8-episode, gallery, I would have taken it.
Well, I mean, and I think, like, in hindsight, really thinking about the Loki character and how much, and I'm not saying the character is more beloved than Wanda or more beloved than Falcon and Bucky, but I mean, this is a very popular character, and they even showed some of that.
He has a bigger fan, at least going into the show. He had a bigger, or when they announced the shows, he had a bigger fan base.
Yeah.
And actually,
WandaVision was a gamble.
In viewership of the shows, Loki hit the highest continuing through the season. Continued to go up.
Good.
So, yeah.
That's good to hear. And I mean, that is probably why they knew right away that they wanted to do a second season of that show. I mean, that's just such a popular character, and there's so much more fun stuff that they can do with that character in a second season. With Mobius, I mean, Owen Wilson will obviously be coming back. I mean, there'll be some.
He needs jobs.
Yeah, he does need jobs. There'll be some good stuff. Although, if this keeps him from doing Wedding Crashers 2, I'm going to be upset. I mean, I need him to do that, and then he can come back and do season 2 of Loki.
Vince Vaughn in season 2 with Owen Wilson at the TVA.
That's true.
Oh, that would okay.
I mean, Rhett makes a really good point here. I mean, he's the expert on stay-at-home moms, as we all know. So stay-at-home moms love Hiddleston.
And look, they've got a director void to fill now. I mean, bring in Wes Anderson and maybe Luke Wilson.
Oh, dude,
Wes Anderson doing Marvel. That's
that would blow my mind.
We can do Howard the
It's
Duck.
not going to happen, but I can only wish.
No, it's not. It's not going to happen. Okay, so yeah, I just wanted because I thought that was the best one,
Yes.
so I wanted to talk.
Did they
about
talk
it
about
bit.
the Loki lectures in that documentary? Or
A little bit, I think.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, there's a lot. If you go out and watch some things, there's a lot of discussion. Like Hiddleston's all in on this character, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Like he's one of the biggest advocates for it, and so apparently he, like at the beginning of the production, he sat down and did like this 2-hour PowerPoint presentation that they call the Loki lectures, and
yeah, no, totally. I mean,
you guys aren't listening, so that's fine.
No,
y'all just pay attention to what's in the chat. Okay.
I know.
I was listening
to
Loki
you.
Lectures. Earl forgot to take his chill pill today. Apparently.
No, I'm messing with you guys.
No, I love the Loki lectures, and yeah, he does love this character. I mean, and he even said in this documentary that he would play the character forever. I mean,
yeah, he loves it. He loves it.
Yeah.
I love the interaction between Owen Wilson, even in the documentary, and him and Hiddleston with the Hamlet stuff. And the Hiddleston politely asking him if he ever played in Hamlet.
Yeah,
Have you ever
totally.
played Hamlet? And it's just like, you know what I do, bro?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, he knew a little bit of what was it from
Two Gentlemen of Verona or whatever.
The Two Gentlemen of Verona. Yeah, he knew a little bit.
Verona, something like that.
He's no slouch.
I think every actor of his ilk probably did some Shakespeare at some point. I mean, so let's talk about Infested then. It's we're towards definitely the last half of the season here, and we've got an episode where I think that we see more of Omega's empathy to other people come out. Really. Yes. In a couple different ways, really, in this particular episode.
Yeah.
She first has to convince, Hunter to stay to help Sid out. I mean, that's like Hunter just wanted to leave. Like, you're like, oh, Sid's not here. Let's get out of here. We're done. I mean, and she was like, no, I mean, Sid's in trouble, and no, we're not. Definitely no. We're not saying that word. No, we're not Brian.
But
I think
maybe
I think there was some good stuff in this episode.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah, and then of course, towards the end of the episode, and I'm jumping around time, but towards the end of the episode, where she really shows a lot of empathy to Roland, who was the antagonist through the whole episode.
Yeah, Roland Durant.
Roland Durant. And not Durant, because there's Rio Durant and Roland Durant. So there's
Durant.
If start amen.
Is it Roland or Roland?
Roland. Yeah, look at this. I mean, amen, Nick.
Sorry,
Nick's right.
I'm more focused on Kathleen Kennedy's eating a baby.
I like it.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, Nick's right. I don't think everything Filoni is everything that Filoni does is for a reason. And even if this episode is just to show more character development with Omega and how much of an empathetic person that she is, and that rubs off on the people around her. I mean, I think a little bit of the frustrating thing about everything's done for a reason. I think when I was watching Clone Wars, I could kind of see some of the reasons were connecting towards things I'd already seen before, like Revenge of the Sith and the future installments after that. And with this, I'm kind of still. There's some things we know. We know War Mantle's coming up. Yes,
in the
and
next
that's a big
episode.
deal.
But there's still some things I don't see yet. So if I were to rewatch the series when it's done, I'm sure I will go, oh yeah. And in all these episodes, I kind of felt were more filler-ish, and feel that they're more important.
And something Filoni did quite a bit in the Clone Wars is homages to things that he loves. I mean, he did a lot of that. He did like a Hitchcock episode. He did a kaiju episode. I mean, he does that quite a bit. I think that part of this episode to me felt very much like Temple of Doom. No, like Temple of Doom, where they're on the mine car thing. I mean, it just little pieces of that type of stuff that I think Filoni throws in there just as homages to some of the stuff that he loves. But yeah, I mean, of course, there's the horror aspect with the bugs and everything, and the trope that they follow the light. I mean, that's a thing that's been done in
light.
They don't like that's repelled. I'm sorry, repelled by the light. Yeah, I mean, that's just stuff that's been done.
Which is the opposite of the creature on one of the first episodes, which she's like, shine the light on him or whatever.
yeah, exactly.
Hey, let's just reverse it, and we'll have the creatures repelled from it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that I personally liked about this episode quite a bit is the inclusion of the underworld. We get a syndicate.
The Pikes, baby, we're coming.
Yeah, the Pikes, and the Pikes have been, in the Clone Wars. They've been in the comics, in canon comics. They were in Solo. So this is a major player in the underworld and a feared player in the underworld. I mean, you could tell that Roland did not. Yeah. They were ruthless for sure. I mean, and so this is something that I enjoyed a lot. I mean, Ryfin, do you follow any of the underworld, or do you like the underworld stuff that was really introduced a lot in Solo, Crimson Dawn, all of that stuff, and a lot in the Clone Wars too?
I was going to say, I'm kind of familiar with the Pikes, I believe, from Clone Wars. If not, maybe I saw them somewhere else. But yeah,
well, Solo also.
Yeah, and yeah, I think it's interesting. I haven't delved deep into it. I don't read a ton of the books or the comics or anything like that. So most of the stuff I know is kind of surface level. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was an interesting insight into that, interesting look more into that stuff, because I was not expecting to see the Pikes in this series.
No, I wasn't either.
They pulled a lot of stuff out of the hat so far that I haven't been expecting.
And I said this on a Bad Batch thing that I recorded for the Hoover Public Library, but and I'm not, of course, the only one who is guessing that this is happening, but I really think that this is an in for, like, and I don't know if it'd be this season, but like a Darth Maul.
He might be in the shadows somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is an in for that potential type of thing to happen.
Solo didn't do very well at the box office, so we can continue the story elsewhere.
Right.
Look, they're setting that up to be a bigger thing in a movie.
Red Dawn's coming.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to see that in the Bad Batch. I don't know if it'll be this season, but again, it's
Bettany back.
Yeah, they
Drayden
could.
Voss, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. It's all these different threads that they're planting that I'm very interested in. I mean, it's just one of those potential things that could happen in another season, or they could do a different, side thing. It would be awesome. I mean, I would absolutely love it if they went underworld with this in some way, or used it as a spinoff for another show or something, or a limited series of just they're giving us some Star Wars underworld stuff. So anyways, if there's anything of interest in it, I've turned it off. So if there's anything of interest, let me know and I can but I've turned it off tonight.
Yeah, sorry,
we were distracted.
I did accidentally say Red Dawn.
yeah, Crimson Dawn. No, on the chat, I've had to turn it off. I'm sorry, chat. So, Ryfin,
I apologize, Michael. I was listening to you, but
Ryfin, like, what type of stuff did you potentially get out of this?
I thought the empathy stuff literally I watched it today. For the first time, because I was a little busy the last couple days, but getting up at 4 a.m. doing some work, and then the weekend I was busy taking care of the dogs, so I wanted to kind of watch it when I was more fresh. I had taken a nap, I was feeling good, and the empathy thing was the thing that struck me like huge in the episode. That's my big takeaway, and you mentioned when we get to the end of the episode with the Deveronian. Durant being held over the table, she's screaming for him not to be killed, when he kind of he would not have shown that same empathy towards her if she was in maybe a similar situation.
Yeah.
I
Don't you
thought
think
that
we'll
was-
see him again at some point? Roland Durant.
Yeah,
Like
I
I
do
think he
think
might
so.
become an ally.
I know that there's been some like pointing towards some sort of broken horn thing that I'm not super familiar with, but sorry. Yeah, I know that there's a broken horn thing, I think from Rebels, that I'm not super familiar with, but I
Well,
don't really know.
let's talk about that in general, because I mean, that's something that is an indication to people that Roland is trying to do business with, that he is one not to be trusted. So that's kind of like why they did that. I think that's why the Pikes cut his horn off. I mean, he's damaged goods now. Basically, he's damaged goods. I mean,
he's done.
He's not going to be able to do business in the same way that he did before, because people are going to see, okay, somebody cut your horn off for a reason.
It's a statement.
You reneged on a business deal. You didn't follow through with the business. Something happened for you to get that horn cut off. I mean, so why would I do business with you any longer?
Nick has a good post.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go back to the chat and see what Nick is saying.
Vizago has a broken horn.
Oh, okay. But it's the opposite one of Roland. Yeah. I mean, and that's interesting too. I mean, Vizago is a character that was around quite a bit and became an ally, and so just like Vizago, Roland could go down that road, basically.
I imagine if he comes back, I wouldn't expect him back this season. If he comes back, I'd expect him back in a different season.
Yeah.
I would expect him back in season 2.
That's why I think with all of these different threads that they have started in this first season, that there has to be a second season in this.
Yeah.
I mean, because not only do we have the potential seed planted in episode 12 of a clone uprising,
right.
We've got the potential of an uprising on Camino. I mean, that they started that thread, and we've heard of that already beforehand, that the Caminoans there's something that's going to happen there between the Caminoans and the Empire. And then now we've got the clones. Are the clones going to uprise against the Empire?
Yeah.
I mean, there's all these different threads, and that they're not going to be able to tie up in 3 episodes.
And I think the conclusion of the season is going to be the conflict between Crosshair and Clone Force 99. I think
they need to go back to that. They need to.
Oh, I think it will be.
That's what I think. I think that they set that up in episode 1, and that's been my feeling for what the end of the season was going to be since then, pretty much.
Yeah.
So do you think, though, that he's going to be redeemed at all? Do you think they'll get the chip out of his head? Or do you think
that's
just going to be...
That's certainly a theme, obviously, in Star Wars, right? I mean, redemption of characters that you don't think can be, or maybe even should be redeemed, end up becoming redeemed. Now,
all Ben Solo had to do was shrug his shoulders, and he was redeemed.
exactly.
All's forgiven.
Yeah.
Now, what they would need to do to really make it impactful is have him kill a major character. They should, and then get redeemed. I mean, because it seems like that's what has to happen.
That's what I feel like I feel like a tragedy is going to happen on the team, and it's going to be caused by Crosshair, and then he's going to come out of the process of being, having the chip taken out of his head and feel remorseful and feel terrible about the thing he did. But it
Nick has a good comment.
Wasn't necessarily him.
Okay, I'll leave the chat up again so I can let's see here. Okay, Nick's that's the tension that has been missing from the last few episodes, which for me is where the show works best. Right? I mean, so I think they're going to go there. Now, War Mantle could be this clone uprising.
War Mantle, I think, is kind of the group that he's running almost. He's running the conscripted soldiers. He's training them.
Right.
That's true.
So that I would say he's 100% going to be in that episode. Now,
yeah, I think these last 3 are going to be total.
He may not ever be redeemed, by the way. He may just be the arch enemy.
That would be odd in Star Wars for that to happen. I mean, because even Darth Maul had some redemption moments. He ultimately was not redeemed.
No,
but he even had his moments of redemption.
But his story's not over yet.
he was redeemed in the sense that he wasn't going to work for the Emperor, but he wasn't a good
Right.
guy.
Right. Well, I mean, his stories, the character does die in Rebels, but I mean,
Spoiler
sorry,
alert.
Well,
spoiler alert, Ryfin.
I know that Obi-Wan Kenobi kills him in Rebels. I've seen a YouTube
Okay.
video of that. That's like the only Rebels clip I've seen.
Okay. Hey, that was a great episode of Rebels. Rebels, don't sleep on that show. That's a good show.
No one ever really dies.
That's right, except Darth Maul. But no, I mean, there is
Twice.
a lot of
Yeah.
There's a lot to do with that character because we've got like 15 years before we get to Rebels. That's right, I think.
Okay.
If my timeline's working correctly. So
Makes
there's
sense
a
to me.
lot of stuff that we can see Darth Maul do. That's why everybody online is thinking that Darth Maul is going to show up at some point in this series.
I think that is very likely.
One major theory is that with a character like Darth Maul, he's always seeking to be in some type of power. Obviously the power that Maul's Empire is mostly based on the fact that he can get his foothold into the underworld, so into these syndicates. And one way also that he could, stir some stuff up is snatch Omega. I mean, if we're gonna go, I mean, he could totally snatch Omega and really be a bigger part of the show. Because if the Crosshair storyline ends now, I mean, we'll need antagonists from all angles. I mean, we'll still have the Empire, and we'll still have.
Yeah,
go ahead.
That's kind of the thing about the era, though, is you can have protagonists, abundance of protagonists, guys that are already set up, and guys you can also create for the era, for that small era that Clone Force 99 could potentially take out towards the end of the show.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And they could be working in conjunction with things like Crimson Dawn, that kind of thing, setting up towards maybe a Maul thing towards the end of the show.
I mean, the thing that I'm most intrigued about this
is theorizing, obviously.
Totally. The thing that I'm most intrigued about is what they're going to end up doing ultimately with the Kaminoans. I think that there's a lot.
We haven't seen them in a while.
And they really aren't. They really were not discussed in the Star Wars universe again until a Kaminoan patch popped up on Dr. Pershing in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, and we still haven't gotten the full story on that.
And we still haven't gotten the full story on that. I mean, so, and this whole weird thing of abandoned clone facilities, that was new. I mean, that's not something. So, and it makes sense. They weren't just doing business with the Separatists. They did business with all kinds of other species. And so they had that abandoned clone facility with what looked to be another Kaminoan. I'm sorry, Kaminoan.
Kaminoan.
Yeah, Kaminoan. So, anyways, Rhett. Dang it! I put the chat back up. I didn't mean to. I clicked on the wrong thing. I was trying to not put the chat back up. So yeah, I mean, ultimately, maybe not much happened on screen in this episode, but I think that character development was an important part of this episode.
Well, we learned the name of the Weequay and was it Ithorian? How do you say the
Ithorian? Yeah.
Ithorian.
Yeah.
Bolo and Sketch or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I didn't really. Those are two characters.
They went after Ruby, the
pet. But then they kind of sold. They kind of sold them out pretty quick once they got caught.
Yeah, they had no problem selling anybody out.
I mean, they didn't have a ton of information, which was good.
Yeah, exactly.
They were like, it was all their idea.
Exactly.
So is Sid going to turn on the Bad Batch? That's the question.
No, I think
feel like there's too much of a rapport. There's too much connection there.
I also think this is the last time we've seen her this season. I don't think we're seeing Sid again. I think that something is going to happen.
We've only got 3 episodes?
There's only 3 episodes left, right?
Yeah. So it'll be a 3-story arc.
Although I did listen to a Star Wars podcast the other day that said 14 episodes.
Did you?
Yeah, and I know it's 16. It is.
It's definitely 16.
But it was another Star Wars podcast that said 14 episodes.
So the one that I was listening to, that for most of this season, one of the hosts was fully convinced it was only 14 episodes. And finally, this past week, one of the hosts was like, I've got a source. There's 16 episodes. Don't worry. There's going to be 16 episodes.
Unless there's 17.
And we've known that on IMDb forever. I mean, we've known that there's that many episodes forever. So, I mean, I don't think War Mantle's the last episode. I think there's too much to tie up. Although I'm also fully convinced at this point that there's a second season coming.
I'm kind of hoping War Mantle starts like maybe a 3-part ending, kind of like a Clone Wars arc at the end. You know?
Yeah, no, I think it totally could. Give us 3-part. In fact, it could be just like War Mantle Part 1, 2, and 3. I mean, that's maybe why there's no episode titles for the last 2.
Yeah. I know that they did finally put out the schedule for August, and they didn't give the episode titles. That may be for spoiler reasons too, potentially, but I don't know. I guess typically they don't do that anyway. But
yeah, no, I mean, I think this was just a leak that somebody found on Reddit that we even got this many episode titles as early as we did.
No, they actually put them out on like the legit Disney Plus schedules.
So they're just trying to save
the first 3 episodes leaked, and I don't know if Disney was just like, whatever, just put them out.
Right.
And yeah.
So what's the name of the next one?
War Mantle.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, the episode that comes out Friday 2 a.m. 3 wherever part of the country you are.
Well, Rhett, you are fully welcome here because I never insisted Mephisto was in WandaVision.
Don't let him. He's trying to sway the conversation. Don't follow him, Garrison.
That's funny.
So the next, so they got War Mantle. The next one's called Here's Maul. And then
so we're just rushing straight into that.
Here's Maul and here's Grogu. No.
Oh wait, no, Grogu's too young. He wouldn't be in this.
Here's baby Luke.
It's a little bit frustrating that they went so far in this series to drop Boba Fett's name, and now it really feels like they're not going to have him in this season at all. I really feel like they have to focus on this crosshair. They've got to focus on this crosshair thing. These last 3 episodes. I mean, they can't. That's such a big part of. I mean, just thinking from a character point of view, that's a big reason why Hunter is not willing to go help out Rex or help out the Syndulla family. He still is focused, and in his mind, he can bring Crosshair back into the family. Like to him, he has lost a family member. And his whole focus, even though he's been asked by 2 different groups of people to come with them, and even the Martez sisters threw it out there that at some point you're going to have to pick a side. His whole focus is Crosshair. And so that's got to be like these last 3 episodes have really got to focus on that, at least to make a season feel like it comes to a good resolution, and then maybe give us a cliffhanger of some type to bring us into season 2.
Maybe a post-credit scene.
Maybe a post-credit. Star Wars doesn't really do that,
no,
but they could at the very end say Bad Batch season 2 or something like. They could pull a Loki and have.
I like that.
Yeah.
And Samuel L. Jackson shows up and
tell you about I don't know what initiative he would say.
It's Mace Windu, yeah.
There you go.
It started as an idea.
Yeah.
He comes back as Mace Windu, and he's ahead of one of the syndicates or something.
He comes out of the shadows and he says, "No one ever really dies. No one's ever really gone."
Yeah, exactly.
It all ties together. Man. It's all connected.
The Book of Boba, baby, it's coming.
Yeah, the Book of Boba, exactly. Which we will certainly be. We will be covering.
Do you think Fennec Shand will show back up, or Cad Bane?
Oh,
well.
Sorry,
I don't know if in this season. I don't know if I think that we're done with a lot of those.
I heard
cameos.
Book of Boba, and is Fennec Shand going to show up? And I was
like, she'll definitely show up there. Sorry,
she'll for certain be there. You guys didn't tell me about this comment. This is a good comment. I think Pershing, empty facilities. Yeah. All these little cloning winks are all pointing to cloning dark science things only the Sith knew.
It's kind of the things we had sort of theorized.
I like that though.
During the second season of Mandalorian, but I feel like we're going to get more answers potentially on that.
Yeah. Again, I'm fully convinced there's got to be a second season of this show now. I mean, They haven't wasted a lot of time, but they've had a lot of these episodes that were more focused on us getting to know Omega and the Bad Batch a little bit better, instead of pushing forward the story quickly, which is fine. I mean, that's what TV is for. That's what the beauty of television is you can take the time to get to know these characters a little bit better, and have a second season to continue that. I mean, that's why we watch TV. We don't need a quick story resolution, right away. Now, could they have done it in 13 episodes instead of, I don't know, 16 episodes? Maybe, but
possibly.
Yeah, possibly. But I don't mind it. I look, I'm all here for whatever Star Wars I get. I mean, I'm into all of it. I might not love every single episode more than the next episode, but give me it all. Give me all the Star Wars
16
content.
weeks of Star Wars, so that's
exactly. I mean, who can say that? I mean, that's pretty fantastic. And
if What If comes out weekly, that's only gonna be 10 weeks. So
yeah, and I hope that is weekly, because we've got to fill content for this show.
Well,
so
it'll definitely be weekly.
Yeah.
Wait, when does What If start? Is that
soon? Like August 11th, right?
August 13th. Yeah, August 11th. Yeah, sorry.
Whatever the Wednesday is, because everything's on Wednesdays now. Yeah. So yeah, no, I mean, we need that show to fill in to get us to the next show.
And it definitely is. I'm looking at the August schedule. It's definitely weekly. They've got the third episode in the third week of afterwards. So
I'm with you, Brian. I'm totally with you. I mean, we are in the golden age of Star Wars right now. I mean, this is like a lot of Star Wars content.
I would agree.
What's the New Republic? What age is that?
Since we've moved past the sequel trilogy, and some of the divisiveness of that, we've gotten Clone Wars season 7 sort of around then. We got The Mandalorian, which I think is the best piece of Star Wars content that Disney's made, and we've got Bad Batch, which has been pretty good so far. So,
and look, I'm so ready for everything else that we've got coming. The Book of Boba. I mean, Mando season 3. I mean, all of that is fantastic. I'm guessing Rhett says I again. I'm not looking.
Sorry, Michael.
I'm guessing I've managed to like not pay attention to anything Rhett's been doing. So it's been a good episode for me.
You feel clean.
Sorry, we got a Sleaze Vegano.
It's like a juice cleanse.
Elon Sleaze Vegano.
Yeah, we got a Sleaze Vegano. Name drop in Rhett's comment.
Well, I do
and
like
a Baron Papanoida talk show.
I mean,
yeah.
Okay, I would watch all that. I would totally watch. I would watch all that. I think that we've covered everything that we can with this particular episode. Was there anything we missed, guys, that you guys want to talk about?
Well, there were flying bats. We talked about that.
The bugs, the bugs. Just a means to an end. Just something.
There's really not much to talk about.
Yeah, something for the Bad Batch to do.
I think the next 3 is going to be
They're going to be huge.
Every single one.
Yeah, they're dropping the boomstick. These next 3 episodes, there will not be. We have developed the characters enough. We know the characters now. Now the impact of a character dying is going to hit us. I think we are losing a character.
And I think it's going to hit. I think it's going to hit whoever it is. I think it's going to hit Omega hard. And I used to think it was Tech, but I think Wrecker would hit Omega harder than Tech.
Omega would be emotionally scarred from Wrecker, because that's like her. That's her big brother figure. Yeah. I think Hunter's the father figure. Yeah. But Wrecker's more like the big brother
buddy and her.
Yeah, like her buddy that he made the room for her. I mean, I think that there's a different type of connection there than she has with Hunter. So yeah, I really think Wrecker's probably going to be the one that we lose. Brian thinks Gonky's gone. Gonky's gone. I mean, yeah.
He just got. I mean, he's just getting fixed up, sort of.
I know, he's just getting repaired, so that would be pretty impactful also.
He's being redeemed on this show. Gonky.
So, Ryfin, where can the people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at SUPASH3. You can find me on Letterboxd at GRyfin. And, of course, I'm on the Deucecast Discord, where I'll occasionally chime in if I feel like it.
If you feel like it. Dr. Earl, we know you are, for the most part, off the grid, which is fine. I mean, it's understandable. But you can occasionally, very rarely almost, be found on the Deucecast Discord. I mean, you're on there. You swoop in from time to time. You are on there more than Dave is, who is supposedly supposed to be on there a lot, but isn't. So, there you go. You're on there more than he is. So you're already winning in my book. But one thing that I wanted to plug that I alluded to earlier is this year's Hoover Public Library Sci-Fi Festival is happening this coming weekend on the 31st.
Live?
It's just a one-day event. I have pre-recorded 2 Star Wars podcasts, or 2 Star Wars panels, I guess in this case, with Stan from Kingdom Casts and Marie from Afra's Artifacts, which is her YouTube show on LBGTQ type of stuff in the Star Wars universe. And I've watched several of those, and they're really good because she is super knowledgeable. She is like Fetmatic in the sense that she is basically a walking Wikipedia. I mean, she knows everything about Star Wars.
She's got it.
Because she takes all the content in. I mean, she reads every single book that comes out, watches all the shows, obviously. And so the 2 panels that we recorded a Bad Batch panel, which was really fun conversation, about an hour long or so. And then we recorded what we just called a publishing panel. So we talked about the comics, the books. I mean, we talked about all kinds of stuff.
Cool.
So, and a lot of High Republic talk. Which is kind of the era that we're in right now with the novels and the comics. And
now, is Stan reading the High Republic books?
He is. Okay. He is. Yeah,
okay.
Stan is reading those books. Surprisingly, he is. The one that we are doing live is just going to be something that we call Star Wars Speculation, and we're doing that live noon Central Time on Saturday, and we're just talking about all the shows that are coming out. Basically, is what we're doing. So, you guys, I'm unfortunately gonna have to ban Red. I think. Like, I don't want to. But like, I feel like I need to. Yeah. No, Brian. They're not going to be on an RSS feed. What you can do is go to Hoover Library's YouTube page, and they've got them all scheduled. Like the ones that we pre-recorded are scheduled, and the live ones are all scheduled out on Hoover Library's YouTube page. So, or their Facebook, if you prefer watching stuff on Facebook. They're both going to be all scheduled out there. So, anyways.
So there's a day of live panels, is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
On Saturday?
On Saturday, yep. And
right.
Yeah.
What variant of COVID will they be?
No. Live panels on the internet.
On the internet?
Yeah, we're not going to be in a
meeting at the library.
No. It's all virtual. It's virtual. No, it's virtual.
It's a virtual.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's virtual. It's two years in a row that they're doing virtual, which is safe for everybody. I mean, yeah. Melissa
Earl was hoping for a Lambda outbreak. So
I wanted a Lambda. I wanted an Epsilon.
Oh gosh. Oh man. Oh, so anyways, so let's end this. I really do appreciate the chat. Well, I'll say this: I appreciate everybody but Rhett in the chat, and I can say that because I know Rhett, so I can say that I don't appreciate him in the chat.
I appreciate everyone.
Good. That's look.
I respect everyone.
One of us needs everyone, especially Rhett.
So it does make it really fun for us. I did have to turn it off so I could focus a little bit, but it's a lot of fun. The chat is a lot of fun. So
we're missing Roth this week. And Fat Matt.
Yeah, Roth. I think Roth got pulled into something else this week, which is
Melissa's there.
But Melissa's here. We had Nick, we had Rhett, we had Brian. I thought we had one other person too. Maybe not.
Fetmatic may be there. We just don't know it.
Fetmatic only shows himself
when we say.
Fetmatic only shows himself when we need a question answered, which is I appreciate that. I appreciate that. It's great. So before things get too insane in the chat, because it looks like they're about to, we probably need to go ahead.
We don't need all that
and end this at this point.
I think Rhett's just trying to go for the most controversial thing.
I know he's just going for the most controversial thing. So hey, we will be back next week for episode 14, which is War Mantle. I think it's going to be a huge episode.
War Mantle.
Very much looking forward to talking about these last 3 episodes because I think they're going to be very important, not only just to the show, but I think implications will ripple through the Star Wars universe with these last 3 episodes. I'm calling it right now.
It's going to ripple for eternity through the
ripple through eternity. Garrison, thank you so much as always. Dr. Earl, thank you, and everybody have a good evening.